There's a great difference, though, between your army and the Azeri army, isn't there?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Our people are much more motivated. We're outnumbered, outarmed. You know, our enemy has a much more ammunition, better quality arms, everything. In other words, if you, mathematically speaking, we should have lost long ago. We should have lost long ago. But we keep resisting, and we're succeeding. We're succeeding. We've had big successes, mostly due to the fact that our people are more motivated. Like I said, they're defending their homes and their families, while the Azeris, they're coming to a region that they really don't know about, a lot of their soldiers, a very important number of their soldiers, deep down inside, they know that this isn't part of Azerbaijan. They know it's just not worth dying or getting wounded for this place, that it's not worth staying awake all night, you know, sleeping in the snow, going through all this trouble to fight for a land which has nothing to do with their country. A lot of them really understand that deep down inside, even though they don't admit it. And that's why they run away when a lot of them, you know, run away very, very, very quickly when we start attacking them. And that's the best thing they could do, because it's stupid to resist. Why should they resist? Why should they continue oppressing our people? Why should they resist to what? Make their politicians happy. If those politicians really want to fight this war, let them come to the front and let them fight themselves.
Once you have liberated Artsakh, would you prefer to have your own political structure independent of Armenia?
Look, this is my personal opinion. Armenia, the Armenian people, are one people. And our country is one country. Artsakh is a part of Armenia. Today, well, on December 10th, 1991, there was a referendum in Artsakh where the people here decided to declare an independent Republic of Artsakh. Despite that, I think that's only a provisional decision. I think it's the only real future for Armenia, for Artsakh, is to be reunited with Armenia. It's the most natural, most logical outcome of all this.
Are you getting support from Armenia?
Well, the Armenian people in Armenia give us moral support. In other words, all Armenians want this region to be reunited with Armenia. Material support, you know, we may get electricity and fuel and all that stuff, but really we would like to get a lot more material support, a lot more material support. The region is, you know, under a lot of pressure, totally blockaded, totally cut off from the rest of the world. The only way to have any contact with the outside is through Armenia. As you know, Armenia is blockaded by Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan is fighting a war on the borders of present-day Armenia also. This war isn't only in Artsakh. They're attacking in other regions. They've taken over Artsvashen and other Armenian places. So Armenia is in a very difficult situation itself, but nevertheless we would like to get a lot more material support. Political support also. We would like more political support.
It seems to me, though, that politically Armenia is kind of slightly disassociated itself from this war at the moment, the present time.
Well, disassociated, like I said, we are getting support. The Armenian people support this effort, that's certain. But the Armenian government itself is in a very difficult position, like I said. The economic situation in Armenia is very bad. Again, due to the Azerbaijani blockade, mostly. Not only that, there are other reasons also, but the Azerbaijani blockade has been having a terrible effect on the Armenian economy, as well as on the Armenian people. We've been suffering during the winters. There's no heating, no gas, no fuel. All the roads have been cut off. And whatever used to come through Azerbaijan doesn't get here anymore. Prices have shot up. Unemployment has risen. They're torturing Armenia a lot. Azerbaijan's been torturing Armenia a lot, and the government in Armenia is just trying to figure out how it can minimize the effects of what Azerbaijan is doing to our country. Minimize the effects on our people.
How do you see solutions for this conflict?
Well, solution to this conflict, theoretically, is very simple. The whole world should just recognize historical facts. They should recognize reality. They should recognize the rights of the people here. And they should say, all right, look, the arbitrary borders that were drawn at the beginning of the century have nothing to do with justice, have nothing to do with the facts. Therefore, we've got to change them. And they should force Azerbaijan.
Hold it, let's get rid of that noise.
And they should force Azerbaijan to accept the fact that that Azerbaijan's border with Armenia must be redrawn. That this region must be re-included into Armenia. Just as Azerbaijan blockades Armenia and wages a war against our people, other countries could blockade Azerbaijan. They did it against South Africa. They did it against other very, racist or unjust countries. Why can't they do it against Azerbaijan? Why can't they do it in this case? If people are serious about peace in the region, then they've got to be serious about a real solution, not one of these quote-unquote compromise solutions that, just put the war off for another 2 years and then the war gets even worse after that. No, that's not a real solution. That's not a real solution. People you got to face the facts, say, this is what we're going to do. Put pressure on the culprit, put pressure on Azerbaijan to accept that, and then there will be a lasting peace. And let me emphasize that without a lasting peace here, the situation can be very volatile and very dangerous for the entire world, because this region of the world is one of the most complicated, where an awful lot of interests get mixed up. A lot of contradictions can blow up into wars, and a lot of different forces can get involved. A lot of forces much bigger than Azerbaijan and Armenia. Forces which, if they start getting involved, the intensity of the war, the intensity, the magnitude of the effects will get totally, out of proportion with what's going on right now. So I've got to emphasize that it is a dangerous situation, and that there's got to be a final solution. People have got to just face the facts, even if that doesn't make Azerbaijan happy, and say, look, this is it. And if you don't accept it, then we're gonna punish you. We're gonna put a blockade on you, and embargoes, everything else.
You must have been brought up with a very strong sense of Armenian nationality, weren't you?
Not really. Not really. I'm a third-generation Armenian from the United States, and I was born there. My parents were born there and everything. My mother's family has been in the United States since 1881, and my father's family since something like 1907, something. Anyway, we've been there a long time, and I didn't speak the language at all until the age of 20. I started to learn the language when I went to Lebanon, and I really wasn't brought up. No, I wasn't brought up.
Why did you go to Lebanon?
Well, because at a certain age, at the age of 11 or 12, when my family went to Turkey and we saw our grandfather's home and all that stuff, we started learning. We started learning that we were Armenian. Up until then, we really didn't know that. But after that, we got very interested, and we started reading more and more and learning more and more. And when the war broke out in Lebanon, and when the Armenian quarter was very much in danger, the phalangists were attacking and trying to force the Armenians to pay taxes and beating them up if they didn't, and blowing up their homes if they didn't, and all that stuff. So I went there to participate in the self-defense of the Armenian quarter in Beirut. And that's how everything started. Started learning more and more and more. And now it's been 15 years.
So actually not until your 20s did you begin to learn about Armenian history, the Armenian Holocaust, the neglect of the Armenian people throughout history by the rest of the world. Is that right?
Well, the first time I ever heard about the massacre, about the genocide, was when I was about 12 years old. And after that, I began reading, at the age of 13, 14, everything. But at the age of 20, I graduated from Berkeley, and I went to Beirut, where I began learning the language, and where I began participating directly in the struggle. So, that's my personal thing. A lot of other people have been conscious of the thing for much more time. But like I said, it's this whole struggle, this thing, it isn't new, neither in Artsakh nor in the diaspora. The Armenian people's struggle has been going on for a long time. We've lost most of our homeland, and we'd like to have the right to live in our homeland, as anyone else should have the right to live in their homeland. And we're going to fight for that.
You're going to do that. You're going to do that. You're saying that the Azeris have tremendous military power. Mm-hmm. Where are they getting their equipment from?
Well, they got most of it from the Soviet Army. When the Soviet Army was dissolved, they got their portion, quote unquote. But they've also bought a lot from other Soviet republics. They've gotten some from the Ukraine. They've gotten equipment from Turkey, Soviet arms manufactured in East Germany. The